Hi, everyone. I'm Diana, and I'm sitting here with former police officer Sean Shapiro and managing partner of Diamond and Diamond Lawyers, Sandra Ziskin. And today we're discussing my arch nemesis, speed cameras. John, we need to talk about all the speed cameras. I literally, when I'm driving to work, I see it on my Waze. It's just like they're everywhere. What is your problem?
Well,
it's not Sean's problem.
Well, the only problem I have with speed cameras is that they're not on every road because they're a temporary deterrence instead of, we have a problem with people who don't follow the law.
Yeah.
Like, at all. And the speed cameras give you about 10% leeway. So you're not just speeding a couple of kilometers, you're going over significantly when you take it into consideration. 15 over is 25% over the limit. And people are doing 10 over pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's a good leeway, don't you think?
Well, you're breaking the law at 1 kilometer over. Technically.
I feel like there should be a negotiable gray standard.
There should be a Diana law, quite frankly.
Do you get a little beacon on top of your car?
That's right.
No
that's
tickets
right.
for Diana?
That's right.
Exempt
that's right.
that one?
Always exempt for Diana.
It would be great if that was important.
I have no doubt that many people would sign
I have
up.
to go, it's important and I have to be there.
Listen, the
10
truth
kilometers is fair.
I am annoyed, and I will be the first one to admit that I've gotten a speed ticket from the speeding cameras myself. There's one right outside my house.
Yeah.
Yes, because I did something wrong. Like, I know I did something wrong. And quite frankly, it's true. I should have slowed down. I accelerated. I was accelerating too quickly, and I was probably 10 over. It was probably at 50 and I was probably at 60. It's not the worst in the world, but I did it. So, look, they do help slow things down, especially in school zones.
Fine.
And it is important because we do have the young kids, and we know that the damage that's done at high speeds is way more impactful than at low speeds. 100%. It just is. It just is.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. But okay, so how much was your ticket for doing 10 over?
Oh, God, I don't know.
Fines are doubled.
Yeah.
So whatever the fine would be by a police officer, it's doubled, but there's no points.
So you're telling me I'd rather get nabbed by a cop driving by catching me speeding than a speed camera?
Not necessarily.
No, because the points, if you get points through a police officer who can give you points, then your insurance goes up quite a bit with points.
Well, points don't actually change your insurance. The insurance sees the conviction.
Right.
So the conviction will mean that your rates will go up.
Correct.
The points mean that the Ministry of Transportation will evaluate your driving, and depending if you are a G-class, full G-class driver,
right,
or a G1 or G2 learner, you might lose your license. So if I pull you over as a police officer and you get a ticket for something with 4 demerit points, you're getting a 30-day suspension. Second time you get it, you're getting a 90-day suspension. Third time, you're losing your learner's permit. That's a G1 or a G2.
Wait, is that the 50 over you're talking about?
No, that's just for getting anything with 4 points. A careless driving charge is 4 points.
Okay.
Boom, you're going to get a suspension on conviction.
Yes, but also, Sean, if you get pulled over by a police officer, they know it was you doing it.
Yes.
With a speed camera, they don't know it was you.
Right.
So your insurance can take that into account when raising your rates, because when you get pulled over by a police officer...
Well, like my mom borrowed my car. She's the one that sped by the camera.
Well, that's exactly right. With the speed camera, you don't know who did it. Whereas if a police officer pulls you over, the insurance company knows it's you.
Yes.
Okay, so you're not getting points off with the speed camera.
Correct.
There's
Correct.
no
There's no points, and it doesn't affect your insurance in any way, shape, or form,
Right.
because it doesn't affect your driver's license.
Correct.
Now, in Europe, it does. And if you in Australia and the UK, they will charge the driver, but they also have a picture of who's behind the wheel. And it's a different approach. I think that would be great here. But we got what we got.
Okay, so speed camera is getting you from the back or the front?
From the back.
From the back. And the red light cameras are getting your face like guilty.
No, I think they're all getting it from the back as well.
Yeah?
The cameras are off to the right when you go
okay.
through, and it's as you pass by into the intersection. But again, automated enforcement, it's just cash, and that makes some people happy. It's speeding or running red lights as a subscription service, so it's not really making the same impact as it could. I interviewed the guys from the system, and they had one intersection where the same guy was given 4 charges as he went around the block and made right turns on the reds without stopping.
Right.
4 red light charges after another. Very expensive day.
Right.
No change to his insurance.
Nothing on his driver's license, nothing on his insurance.
No, because they can't link it to the driver. So exactly, you could have been borrowing my car that day. You could have been driving it, and I could say that, and nobody has anything.
I love that anytime.
First of all, you can't borrow my car. After this conversation, we know you can't borrow my car.
You get all kinds of tickets.
Exactly. So no, but that's what it is. But if a police officer pulls you over, it's
Got
your
it.
license, it's you. Anything attaches directly to you as a driver, and that follows you for when the insurance wants to renew your insurance. And we all know the second you make, just like when you make a claim on your insurance, when you get a ticket from an officer with demerit points, it will factor into when you renew.
I'm going to tell him it was my evil twin sister.
Of course.
Because they've never heard that before, Diana. That's usually they've never, the police officers have never heard that before. You're the first one to come up with that.
Her name is Diane.
Yes.
Something like that.
I actually pulled a guy over once, and it was for headlights off while he was at night, and
That's a big one, I
he
think.
didn't have his license on him, so he gave me his name and his date of birth. And I came back and I said, "I'm sorry to tell you that your license is suspended." He goes, "My brother got his license suspended."
Thinker. Good thinker.
He wasn't quick enough to admit that he just lied to a police
And
officer.
then he got arrested for impaired operation. So,
Probably.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, there is some argument to be made because you said it's strictly it's generating money for, I guess, the city or the whatever. So I was told by a lady in my golf club that she was saying that the city of Vaughan, I think, made $19 million from the speed cameras alone, and they're just literally everywhere. On one hand, they help there because I slow down when I know that there's one, because Waze tells me that there's one's coming up.
right.
Thank you, Waze.
Yes.
I love that feature, by the way. Anyway, so if I'm slowing down, so it's good. There's positive to it.
It's a temporary deterrent. It keeps people slow in those community safety zones that are known to either have lots of elderly or young people or where there's serious crash risk. And that's why they're putting them into these places.
Right.
And it's effective because if you hit a pedestrian at 60 versus 40, it changes the dynamics of that collision.
100%.
So it's a huge benefit to keep people slow. Slower is safer, better reaction time. Like there's tons of reasons people should do the speed limit. And what I most often hear is, well, it's not fair. It used to be 50, but now I have to go 40. Well, that's not really a defense for speeding.
Yeah, it's a boo-hoo.
But and you talk about the money going to the community. It's great. Money's going into the community. Maybe they won't raise taxes over it. I don't know.
Yeah, road repair or something. Something needs to go into that.
If you're going to get a ticket like that, you gave up your right to complain, in my opinion. And there's really very little you can do to dispute them. There's photographic evidence. There's technology there with a great picture of you, or at least your vehicle.
So 51, it's clocking you, or is it just taking a picture of every license plate that's driving by?
So it's monitoring, and it's going to trigger and flash once it hits the threshold, whatever that is. They don't generally take pictures of everybody. It's going to be triggering based on criteria. So if it's at 10% over or whatever it is, in some jurisdictions, every municipality can set it themselves.
Does it depend on your car color?
No. So it's unbiased. That's a benefit.
It's like, whoa, that's a bright vehicle driver.
It's hard to say the camera hated you and was taking it out on you in particular.
Yeah. Diana takes everything personally. Yeah.
There's a new one. There's actually two new charges that are automated enforcement that have hit the MTO, or at least the HTA, and that is for driving past school buses.
Okay,
They have school bus cameras in some jurisdictions in Ontario.
great.
That's
Around
actually a
the
great
school
one.
buses?
That's a
Well,
great
if
one.
you pass it when it stopped with its lights flashing,
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
great.
nail
That
those
one I
drivers,
support,
and
yeah.
I can't stand those people.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other one is streetcars. They're experimenting with that now as well. So if you pass a streetcar with its doors open, they have cameras that are being
I
put
did
out.
that
into
once
light.
when I first got my license, and I was so mad at myself because that streetcar honked as I was driving by. I'm like,
Well, because
"Ooh,
it's
that's a
so-
horn.
yeah.
That is a horn that you hear.
and it's so dangerous because
Yeah.
just like pedestrians are coming out of the streetcar, just like they are in the school bus. It's children, even worse. You just got to stop. Just stop. It's not worth
What
it.
drives me crazy is e-bikes and bicycles that don't stop for these. And those are just as much of a risk as car. I mean, it's different because it's not the same massive vehicle. But an e-bike traveling at 30 hitting a pedestrian is going to do severe damage.
Right.
And if it's a child, you could very well kill them. And we've had
Correct.
cyclists kill other cyclists in Toronto where they've collided. And people try and say cyclists don't do anything wrong.
Yeah,
They do.
They
You
do.
do.